Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out on a rainy evening. I'm sorry we couldn't be outside, but it's more about the people here than the place. So thank you all for coming out to support a very important day in all of our lives and to give tribute to those who deserve it. Good evening and welcome our veterans, spouses, widows, family members, friends, honored guests, as we honor our veterans today at Hillsborough Townships' 14th Annual Veterans Day ceremony. Today we'd like to first begin to acknowledge some people who are here today that you probably all know, but I'm going to acknowledge them. We have Deputy Mayor now for a few weeks, Frank Delcourt, and obviously, thank you. So, good evening, Doug Thompson. I believe that's all that's made it so far. We'll see if anybody should show up. We will acknowledge them as they arrive. Also, we have as our guest speaker this evening, veteran and VFW Commander Mike Schnaufnagel. Back. And you'll be hearing from him in a few moments. But at this time, I'd like to invite Deputy Mayor Frank Delcourt to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Frank. You'll be hearing some more from Deputy Mayor Delcourt shortly. In a few moments, you'll also hear about some events here in Hillsborough, and more importantly, what the veterans of Hillsborough have meant to him over the years that he's been involved with the township. And I'm not going to say it's a long time, but it's a long time.
It's a long time.
Earlier today, I was joined with Deputy Mayor Frank Delcourt, our Director of Parks and Recreation and Social Services, Bob Wagner, who's in the back of the room with us, VFW Commander Schnaufnagel, and the Hillsborough Township Police Officers and veterans Chris Kennedy and Rick Tishner, who are in the back. So I'd like to give them a hand also. We had the honor of attending at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Homedale, New Jersey. Hillsborough Township was recognized amongst 13 other townships in the state of New Jersey with the New Jersey Governor's We Value Our Veterans Community Award. It was my honor to accept that award on behalf of the Hillsborough Township staff and on behalf of our veterans. We have always and will continue to take pride in honoring our veterans throughout the year, and will continue to do so, as well as also to enhance our existing programs for our veterans whom we have here today that we thank every day and should for our freedom. As with any event, I would like to provide a brief history of its origination, and I'm sure most of you in the seated here know, but I will go through anyway because it should be so said. Veterans Day observed annually on November 11th. November 11th, 1918 marked the end of World War I. It was later that year that President Woodrow Wilson celebrated with that was originally known as Armistice Day for the first time. It wasn't until 1938 that Congress recognized November 11th as the official federal holiday. In 1954, the holiday's name was changed to Veterans Day to honor the veterans of all wars and conflicts that the United States of America has participated in. In France and elsewhere in Europe, the day continues to be known as Armistice Day. Veterans Day was actually celebrated in October for several years, although the Uniform Holiday Act of 1968 moved the holiday from November 11th to the fourth Monday of October. The move was there to ensure a long weekend for our workers. But in 1975, President Gerald Ford returned the holiday to its right and original November date due to the significance of its marking the end of the First World War. As I mentioned, in Hillsborough, we honor our veterans throughout the year. In May, we on Memorial Day weekend, we salute our veterans and commemorate our war dead. In August, we honor our Purple Heart recipients. New this year in September, we had a Remember Our POW and MIA event. And today, again, we gather to honor all veterans. However, honor, the internet says honor means respect or great esteem. As I shared last year during my remarks on this day, honor, unfortunately, has not always been something properly bestowed upon our veterans. There have been periods of darkness in our history where our veterans were not properly honored for their courage, dedication, service, and sacrifice. Fortunately, I believe those dark times are in the past. It is important that we carry on the right message to our children and continue to pass on the respect deserving to all our veterans. On behalf of Hillsborough Township, our residents, and our entire community, we thank our veterans and all our military service personnel for their continued service and dedication to our nation and our freedom. We honor them, and we honor the flag of the United States of America. Thank you to all those here present and anyone in your memories, and please express to them our sincere gratitude. At this time, I would like to invite Deputy Mayor Frank Delcourt to share his thoughts. Changing the page. And Frank is going to go down a little bit of memory lane, I understand, which has been what he's been doing recently. So please honor me in welcoming Mayor Delcourt. Deputy Mayor Delcourt.
I'm going to take my glasses off so I can read. I'm getting at that point where it's... Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me the opportunity to address our veterans tonight on this Veterans Day. I've been here on the committee for 15 years. I've had numerous opportunities, including this year, to serve as the Veterans Liaison, and it is always an honor to speak and provide remarks in front of our brave and esteemed veterans. So thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak. Welcome to our veterans, family, friends, some of our employees here in the municipal building. It's nice that on a rainy Friday we could still have a nice number of people here in the room to recognize and honor our veterans on this Veterans Day. As many of you know that have been here before for our Veterans Day events, we always like to have a veteran come up, and I believe we will. Mike will come up in a few minutes to talk about what it means to be a veteran. For me, I'd like to change that slightly a little bit and discuss the amazing experiences I've had with our veterans here in Hillsborough. During my tenure here on the Township Committee, I've had the opportunity to attend and experience many veterans-related activities and events. Unfortunately, we haven't had the opportunity tonight to experience the Garden of Honor that we've built and tried to enhance in recent years. And it's we've always had those beautiful ceremonies out there where we can honor our veterans. We've recently, over the last several years, added our Purple Heart plaque and a POW MIA plaque. And it's been amazing to be recognized. We were one of the first communities to be recognized as a Purple Heart community in the state, and that was a tremendous honor for Hillsborough, for our elected officials, and for our residents. And I'd like to thank everyone that was involved in that. And as the mayor noted, we had a great opportunity today to be down at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Homedale at the governor's event, and be able to be recognized as a community that says we value our veterans. That I can't tell you how much that means to us to be able to receive a recognition like that. Certainly, it's we don't hold ourselves in the same place as our veterans, but we do like to show how much we honor and respect, and we try to do that each year. And to be recognized in that way at that event was really something special. But with all that, probably the event that is always something I most cherish and look forward to each year is our Veterans Breakfast and Roll Call, the event that we hold before our Memorial Day Parade and commemoration program each year. It's always so sobering, moving and poignant to hear our veterans speak of their service, and in many cases, to speak of their fallen fellow soldiers. It's truly inspiring to learn of their bravery and service, some subtle, some anything but subtle, but all deserving of our never-ending gratitude and support. And if there's probably one thing I'll miss going forward, it's the opportunity to be part of that amazing ceremony, because it's one where we get to see the veterans stand with pride and emotion on their faces as their branch of service military song is played. I treasure the opportunities I've had to hear our Grand Marshals speak of their service. We're very fortunate. I think we have a couple of past Grand Marshals here in the room today. We're so fortunate to hear their willingness to share their experiences, not just with us, but with the entire community. And as I said, that's one of the things I'm going to miss very significantly about my time here. What I found also that's been interesting for me is the more that I've been able to interact with our veterans and be part of these programs, the more I found myself wanting to be more of a student of history, to learn about things that have led to our conflicts, why our veterans are part of our wars, what transpires to make them get overseas. Watching movies, documentaries, reading about military books. It's something that, while I always had some interest in, it's become much more pronounced as I have the opportunity to hear some of the experiences that you all had, and it just makes you want to learn more. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think as we have our events with you at the Memorial Day or Veterans Day, when people hear the stories that you have to tell, speak of your experiences, I think I'm not alone in saying that people want to learn more and be better students of history so that we can understand the motivation and more importantly the heroism and bravery that you all experience and display. One of the things I tried to do when I was in order to expand my knowledge a little bit, I think some of you I may have told the story to. In a past career, I used to spend a lot of time, our headquarters was in Paris. So I used to go over to Paris quite a bit for business, and one time I decided I was going to extend my trip, and I took a day, went over to took the train ride to Normandy to see the beaches there and visit the Normandy Landing Museum. Of course, the location immortalized in the D-Day invasion. And there's an American cemetery there. I remember touring and walking along the cliffs there and thinking to myself, my goodness, how did this actually transpire? When you see the cliffs there and realize that we had people just scaling the cliffs there to actually undertake that invasion, truly amazing. You realize the unbelievable magnitude and scale that had to go on. I walked the beaches there, and I was struck a little bit by the fact that people were just on the beach like it was Point Pleasant. I guess I kind of expected it to be a more sacred, holy place, if you will. But then I realized it's, to the people there, it's one of their locations, it's a beach, but people were out there frolicking. They didn't treat it as the same hallowed ground as I think we all did. I got to visit the cemetery, which was very pristine and beautiful, but very sobering at the same time. Through all of these events, hearing you speak, being able to learn a little bit more, my trip overseas, my respect and admiration and appreciation for our brave veterans has only grown. And I think as mine has grown, I've been heartened by what I kind of sense is over the last decade, maybe a couple of decades, there's been a bit of a resurgence of patriotism and respect for our veterans. I think the mayor noted that, you know, there's been some periods in our history where maybe that wasn't the case, but I do get the sense that that has changed a little bit, and I'm encouraged by that. I think it's certainly proper and the right thing to do, but there's still more that needs to be done. Even as our treatment of our veterans improves, we still have far too many homeless veterans. Way too many veterans that are suffering from mental health issues, and as a result, in many cases, of their service, and that needs to be fixed. And at a time of incredibly low unemployment, where nearly every American that wants one could have a job, we still have extremely high unemployment rates for our veterans. I hope this ends, and I hope our leaders in both Washington and Trenton soon get to the point where they're doing all they can to right these wrongs and place a much higher priority on taking care of our veterans. I was encouraged today at the Trenton event that there are some programs being undertaken here in New Jersey, but there's clearly much more to be done. So to all of our veterans, both those here tonight and those that I've had the great opportunity to meet over the last 15 years, it has been my absolute honor to get to know you and learn of your amazing service. I recognize that as someone that has not served in the military, it would be inappropriate for me to salute you, but I swear to you I would if I could or if it was appropriate. But I hope you know that here is where I will salute you. You mean a great deal to me and this community and of course to our country, and I thank you every day for all you do, for your brave service to our nation. Our country remains the greatest and freest nation on earth thanks to your service. Thank you very much, and may God's grace always shine on our veterans, our troops, and the United States of America. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight.
You can have those back. Nice. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And I'm sure if Commander Thompson could speak, he would probably say very much the same thing. I mean, we all up here in the dais, it's kind of a must is, one, take care of the town, two, take care of the vets. Ever since I've been on it, that's the charge we've always had, and I'm proud to be part of it. It is now my honor to introduce a very special guest here this evening, a fellow comrade, a veteran, and a VFW commander, Mike Schnaufnagel. But first, a little bit about Mike. See, hold on there. I gotta give you a little introduction. Keep you spinning. We're honored to have Mike Schnaufnagel, an Army veteran and currently the commander of VFW Post 8371 here this evening. Veteran Schnaufnagel was drafted back when they used to give you a nice invitation to come, you know, have 3 square and a cot, in the U.S. Army in March of 1970 at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. He later enlisted in the regular Army in April of 1970 and graduated basic training in May of 1970 and was initially assigned to Fort Monmouth, New Jersey as a fixed crypto repair, a 32 F-20. Everything's got to have a number in the military, right? School from June of 1970 through August of 1971. He was assigned to STRATCOM Europe upon graduation and supports functions for the 7th Army and NATO in Heidelberg till March of 1973. During that time, he had top secret clearance and held special intelligence access related to working on the U.S. Army secure voice equipment assigned to NATO officers and generals. Officials, excuse me, and generals. His service ended at Fort Dix, rank of SP5. Veteran Schnaufnagel joined Hillsborough Memorial VFW Post 8371 in March of 2019 and held the post of adjunct until recently elected commander. Please help me welcome and salute welcoming veteran and Commander Schnaufnagel.
Thank you, Mayor. My hands are all wet.
It's okay. Don't drop the mic.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, you're good.
Am I good?
Just keep it close.
Thank you, Mayor, township officials, fellow veterans, police, family, and friends. Thank you and welcome today's ceremony and tribute to veterans. Veterans Day, November 11, 2022, today. And we stand here and we recognize the patriotism on the people who have served and protected our freedom and our way of life. We honor all in the past members who have served our country regardless of their war or conflict. The next section was taken by the mayor, so I'll skip that.
Way to go, Mayor.
Thanks again. That's all right.
Got to compare notes next time.
Exactly. The veterans we honor here today came from all walks of life. They left their families, they left their homes, they left their way of life, all to maintain our way of life. They possess courage, pride, determination, integrity, and dedication to duty and service. These are just some of the qualities needed to serve a larger cause than ourselves. As we honor these veterans and remember their great deeds, we also salute those who are currently protecting our freedom. The war on terrorism has helped us realize how unique our American way of life is and how fragile our freedoms are. The freedoms we enjoy are extremely fragile, and for that very reason, we need to protect them. The defense of freedom is not just for those in the military. Each of us share a responsibility and a duty. We do not need a military branch of service to protect our country. It's everyone's duty. We can protect our freedom by defending the Constitution, protecting our sovereignty, and maintaining fiscal responsibility. Preserving our freedom means we need to act and perform in accordance with our values by voting, speaking out against injustices, and acting in accordance with our humanitarian values. In addition, we need to volunteer in a capacity to teach others in all generations by our example and what it means to be an American. Veterans Day is not just a day to remember veteran sacrifices, but a day for all Americans to step up, put country first, and family first, if that makes sense. It is a day to remember our journey to protect freedom and the freedom for all future generations. As previously indicated, veterans come from a vast diverse backgrounds. All differ with their own stories, trials of tribulations, and conquests. For veterans, Veterans Day is a kind of a family reunion. And I experienced that a little bit this morning with the mayor and our township officials and our police officers in the back, which thank you very much. We gather and celebrate. We laughed, we shared stories, and we shared life experiences. That's what Veterans Day is about. But what we don't do is we don't forget. And I'm going to use Vietnam as an example because most of us are Vietnam era. We don't forget the 58,479 comrades whose names are etched in stone. We don't forget the 6 million plus emblems on gravestones in our cemeteries. And we don't forget the veterans who need shelter and who are physically, emotionally, and psychologically impaired to some degree. We don't forget those people. I believe it all came together for me when I raised my right hand. And I said, I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. Comrades, thank you all for honoring our veterans today. God bless America. God bless our troops. God bless your families, your relatives, your neighbors. Thank you very much for your time.
I don't know if I can follow that, but we'll continue to move on. Thank you, Michael. Again, thank you to our servicemen and women. Thank you all for coming out this evening. Is this working? Yes? Okay. It's unfortunate the weather brought us in the room, but as I said before, it's not about the room, it's about the company. But I would encourage you on nicer nights to stop by the memorial we have outside in the front and the 100 or so flags in honor of you veterans put out by Rotary in our Flags for Heroes program, quoting such a wonderful tribute to our veterans. And I'd like to thank Michelle Kitt, who's here in our room, who was a fellow Rotarian with me, who spearheaded this, started last year. I think it's a wonderful tribute, a solemn tribute to those who we remember. Again, I'd like to thank you once again for coming out tonight, and I'm going to ask for one favor, since we're inside here. I would like all the veterans and their families to come up here so we can have a family photo, not just for us, but for you, as a memory that we can share and pass on, and as a tribute to our outgoing Deputy Mayor Frank Delcor. So thank you all. Please come up to the front and we'll take a photo. Have a nice evening.